Okay everyone, thank you for coming along tonight. This is near the location of a very tragic incident that happened just a week ago, the death of Mr. Fan. A terrible tragedy that affected his family, and it's something that actually shook, I think, many of us to know that as a pedestrian you could be seriously injured and lose your life because of an incident like this. It is unacceptable, totally unacceptable to ride whilst you're under the influence. It is unacceptable to be reckless. It is unacceptable to speed. It is unacceptable to carry a Indian passenger, and it's unacceptable to not wear a helmet. These are very serious incidents, and the riders of e-ridables and e-scooters need to be very aware that the law is the law. You are on a vehicle. They're not toys. They are dangerous. They can result in devastating and very tragic outcomes. So, as a result of that, to remind everyone that gets on an e-ridable, the police are out in force here tonight in Perth, making sure that people do the right thing. They have been making sure that people have been doing the right thing for a long time now. It's been about 4 years since e-ridables came into the market, and there's been a law around them. And it's not been unusual for police to fine people for speeding, to breath test e-riders, and to give them a fine and for offending as a DUI rider. But this is a very serious incident. It's one that I'm looking very closely as Police Minister and Road Safety Minister. I've been shocked and very concerned about the recent fatalities involving e-ridables, and I want to send a very clear message to everyone that gets on them. You have a responsibility to yourself and to other members of the community, particularly pedestrians, to behave responsibly. And if you don't, the officers that see you do the wrong thing will fine you. You will be facing fines and you will be dealt with. The other role the police will have here tonight is one of education and awareness. We want to make sure that people do the right thing, people are aware of their responsibilities as e-riders, and that they behave in a very safe way. Now, with me is Senior Sergeant Bukowski, who is running the operation tonight, so I'll let him say a few words and we can ask some questions about the operation.
Thanks, Minister. Acting Senior Sergeant from Perth Police Station. Tonight is the start of our focus on e-scooters, which is off the back of an ongoing issue that's been identified. Tonight, if you are riding a scooter in the CBD, in Perth, anyway in WA in general, expect to be stopped, expect to be breath tested, and expect to be dealt with in either a ticket, a caution, brief, or other matters. If you're doing the right thing, you'll also be stopped or be spoken to and thanked for doing the right thing. We encourage good behaviour on our roads. It's important that the message get out there because we're all about safety. And we want people to be doing the right things in the CBD. Some of the stuff that we see in the city are a lot of intoxicated riding, speeding, use of mobile phones, and two up on the scooters. Kids under 16, the juveniles that come through the CBD as well, are using these scooters as well. So they're not toys, they're vehicles. We have a lot of officers in the city tonight, not only from my station but from road policing, targeting this issue. And yes, if you are here riding a scooter, you will be stopped, you will be spoken to. And it's not just tonight, it will be ongoing the next few weeks, targeting e-scooters.
Why does it take police such a long time, given that I'm a resident of this street, why did it take police such a long time to actually do something about this, given I've seen 3 young girls riding on bikes, screaming down, no helmets, and some near crashes and flip-flops all around for being around for years. Why has it only been addressed now?
It's always being addressed. We are always stopping scooters. We're just making a main focus on this now to make a really big push around the e-scooters during our operation.
So the city of Perth has removed 500, or ordered the removal of 500 hired e-scooters in this very district. Now all these police resources are coming now. It seems a bit ludicrous that you guys are enforcing it when these hire e-scooters, which police themselves are saying are the issue, you're enforcing something that isn't even here, or trying to, control something that isn't even here anymore?
I think that there's more than just the hired scooters that get around the city. There are personal scooters that get around. Uber riders get around in the city as well. So it's not just the people that hire the scooters. We are targeting everyone on the scooter.
And how serious are the penalties for those people?
It can vary. The penalties can be from a ticket to going to court to losing your license to, so it's very serious.
Any infringements?
Infringements range from $50 all the way up. Obviously, so minor to going to court losing your license.
Up to what, sorry?
Minor $50 infringements, $100 infringements, and then obviously anything that the court decides.
The actual number of infringements that police have issued over the years is quite low. Just referencing some things that were tabled in Parliament. In 2023, children under the age of 18 who were caught exceeding the speed limit, there was 2 infringements given in the entire year. And in 2024, there was 1 infringement. Is that good enough?
I can't comment on those statistics at this stage, but what I will say is that we will continue targeting people doing the wrong things, and we will issue infringements where we need to. We are obviously educating through enforcement.
Minister, can I just ask you on those statistics as well?
Sure. So what's the question?
So in 2024, e-scooter riders under the age of 18, there was 1 infringement given by WA Police.
Oh, look, I think the Senior Sergeant has made the point that this is something that has always been enforced, not just tonight, but over the past 4 years. So part of that would have been warnings and education, and part of it would have been issuing of infringements. Now, I believe that we need to go further. I've got no doubt about that. We need to do better. We have laws that are based on national standards, which are in line with best practice around the country. But we've seen some very shocking incidents of late. I want to look at new ways to enforce the laws around e-ridables. I want to see what more we can be doing in terms of the time of day that people can use them, the speed that they can be used at, and where they can be used. So my concern is in terms of entertainment precincts like this, like Northbridge, like other parts of Perth and Pillories and Scarborough, where there are concentrations, large amounts of people on the road, particularly in the evening. Many of them who might have had a few drinks, who see as particularly a hired scooter as a convenient way of getting home. The message that has to go through to those people is it's as bad as getting in a car drunk as riding on an e-scooter. You might think it's less of an infringement, you might think you might get away with it, you might think if I stick to the footpath I'll be right, but as we saw about a week ago near this very spot, you can have very devastating consequences from thinking that that is acceptable behaviour. It is not. So I'll be looking at a whole range of things. I know these devices can be geo-fenced electronically. You cannot use them in a pedestrian mall, for example. So are there other areas around our CBD, around entertainment precincts, where you cannot operate them after a certain time or at a certain speed? So that's a conversation I want to have with local governments that license the use of them in their areas and the industry itself. What more can we do to make these devices safer, to ensure that people are doing the right thing? The police will enforce the laws, but we also need to see how we're using these devices, when we're using these devices, at what time we're using these devices. I think these are all critical issues that can make the whole community safer.
Do you accept that at the end of the day that I'm sorry to bring this up, but if that person didn't die, it would have just been business as usual. This press conference wouldn't have happened at all.
We have had compliance measures with police over the last 4 years. There's been a list of operations. I can give you the name of all of the operations where police have targeted e-ridables. This is something police are very aware of. When they're out on the town, when they're in places like Northbridge and here at the CBD, they look for these issues, they warn people, they fine people, they breath test people. So this is not a new approach, but I think it's worthwhile that we again go out in force, because this is a form of education. You reporting this tonight, people seeing police in action, serves to remind everyone of their responsibility.
So will police be in the other places where there is scooters? What about Scarborough, Broome, down south, all these other local councils and locals that have been complaining about these e-scooters for years and asking police to come down and actually stop this sort of behaviour?
I don't think police have been ignoring this issue. They've been active right across Western Australia. They've been in the regions doing what they need to do. But this is not the end of this. You will see this operation tonight. There are other parts of Perth where the police will look at this issue. There are other parts of Western Australia where they'll also turn out and remind people of their obligations.
Minister, there are modifications that can be made to e-scooters that let them go up to 60 kilometres an hour. You said that speed is something that we'll look into, but just on initial thoughts, does that sound like it would be a good idea to make those illegal?
That's a very good point. You cannot ride more than 10 kilometres on a footpath, and you can't go more than 25 kilometres on a road. Yet for some reason, you're able to import devices into Australia that are capable of really excessive speeds. So some of these devices you can do 60, 70, 80 kilometres an hour, and then people are told that you cannot use them in a public area. That is nonsense. No one can use a device capable of 60, 70, 80 kilometres an hour in their backyard. They're going to be looking to go on a road or a footpath. There's no good reason, I believe, to have those being able to be brought back into this country or imported into this country legally. We need to put a stop to it. It's not something Western Australia can do by itself. We need to work with the Commonwealth and the other states. But when I go to see my fellow police ministers around the country, I'll be raising this issue. I'll make sure it's on the agenda. We need to ban the importation of very high-speed e-bikes.
Should they just be licensed?
Look, I don't know the numbers. Look, police are always out of force. They resource operations effectively to make the community safe. This is a focus tonight, a special focus on e-ridables, and we're going to see e-ridables that are personally owned by individuals. Look, people who do the right thing, ride in the right areas, at the speed limit, show concern and consideration and caution around pedestrians, it's a safe and effective way of getting around. But the problem is when people do the wrong thing. And the vast majority of riders are responsible, I believe, but far too many people are taking risks and going too fast and being in areas they shouldn't be at speeds they shouldn't be travelling in. Those are the people we need to send a very strong message to, a warning, and if they do the wrong thing and it's an extreme situation, they're going to get fined. Oh look, I want to be sitting down with all local governments who have licensed hireable e-scooters in their areas to actually work together. I also want to go to the industry. I want to go to the providers and say, well look, your industry is in focus now. How can you be safer? What are your ideas for safer, more responsible use? I think if these are good corporate citizens, which I believe they are, they want their riders to be safe. They want the community to be safe around their vehicles. So I'll be asking them to come up with suggestions, and they'll know the capabilities, they'll know the electronic systems that can be used to make these devices safer, to make them cut off in areas where maybe they shouldn't be, to reduce the speed in certain areas at certain times. This is all something we can look at, so I'll be talking to those operators, the companies that provide the scooters, and I'll also be talking to local government to bring in their ideas of how we can do.
Do you think that the scooter riders should be licensed and maybe just easier to do it?
Look, I'll consider all things, but I think the key is, even with a licensed operator, we know that there are people who have a driver's license who do the wrong thing in a car. I don't think that's a magic bullet that stops people offending by simply being licensed.